All right, glad to have you stay with us. It is still in the game on News Central TV. I'm Udoka Njoko. Now let's travel straight to Saudi Arabia because I just might be the new signing over there in the Saudi Pro League. But of course, let's talk about what happened yesterday as Al Nassr captain Cristiano Ronaldo scored his first 3 goals of the 2023-2024 Saudi Pro League season as they got a 5-0 win away at Al Fateh. Sadio Mane also netted the other 2 goals, including his first since moving to Saudi Arabia from Bayern Munich earlier this month. All right, the great goals are coming from the Saudi Pro League right there. As Al Nassr dominated all through in that game against Al Fateh. That game ended 5-0. Senegal's Sadio Mane scored 2 goals, while Portugal's Cristiano Ronaldo scored 3 goals, a hat-trick in that encounter. And you wonder what is the attraction in the Saudi Pro League. A lot of superstars actually heading over there, the likes of Karim Benzema. There's also Riyad Mahrez. There is Cristiano Ronaldo. There is Sadio Mane, all moving over to the Saudi Arabia Pro League. But talking about the league being hunting, rather, I'll use that word, hunting top players from across Europe. To speak on this now, we've got Telema Davis, who is also going to speak about this, and I hope that he doesn't have plans of relocating to Saudi Arabia. Good to have you with us this morning.
There's no such plans.
Okay.
Except when we actually have to go look for the money from there.
Aha. But of course, if they come calling, won't you want to go over there if they drop about £100 million for you?
Well, we have to consider the conditions before we make that move.
I see. I see. But let's talk about the influence of the Saudi Pro League. At some point in time, we used to know it was about the MLS that's in USA or players moving over to Dubai. But what is the attraction over there with the Saudi Pro League? Is there anything they are doing differently to attract these top players?
Okay, so the MLS still tops the Saudi Pro League by a measure of standards. However, focus on the Saudi Pro League or Saudi in itself. It's a strategy which the country as a whole has adopted and is actually playing by its own playbook. It's no coincidence that we see this approach being taken, given the influence of sports on the global plane. Sports in itself, is politically is soft power, and the Saudis for a while realized that they have been left, far behind on their engagement on the global stage, and given the growing influence of their neighbors, the likes of UAE and Qatar, they knew that they had to come to the table. But it's really all credit to Mohammed bin Salah, MBS himself, who is young at heart, who is visionary and realized that there's a need to shift from the tradition that the Saudi have actually focused on, mostly driven by the influence of oil money, but which they still focus on, but they are more or less as in diversifying to focus on other areas, specifically sports and entertainment, that would endear other countries and key players to them as a destination market. That really is the end game for Saudi Arabia.
Now, let's take a look at some of these players that have actually moved. There's the likes of Neymar, a superstar, I must say, who once played for Paris Saint-Germain and Barcelona. Now playing in Saudi Arabia, of course, he wants to do well in football. He wants to someday win the Ballon d'Or. But a lot of people are saying that going over to Saudi Arabia is the end of that dream. Remember, there's also Chelsea's former goalkeeper, Édouard Mendy, who also is playing in the Saudi Arabia Pro League. And remember, he was once the goalkeeper of the year when he was playing at Chelsea. There's Riyad Mahrez, who plays for Algeria, scores interesting and beautiful goals for Algeria and Manchester City. He's now in Saudi Arabia. There is Sadio Mane, who played for Liverpool, Bayern Munich. He is in Saudi Arabia. Cristiano Ronaldo, I mean, one of the world's best footballer. He is in Saudi Arabia. There is a Roberto Firmino, who played for Liverpool, now in Saudi Arabia. There is a Kalidou Koulibaly, a top defender when he was in Napoli and now moving over to the English Premier League, playing for Chelsea. He's also in Saudi Arabia. A lot of these top players have moved over to Saudi Arabia. What exactly is the future of football over there in Saudi Arabia?
So so to start with, now when we consider broadly the list of players who have actually made this move, except with the exception of Ronaldo, Neymar, and Jordan Henderson from Liverpool, and a few others, majority of these players have Islamic background. And permit me, but we have to consider all the factors that have made it easier for most of the players to make this move to Saudi Arabia, given the fact that Saudi is an Islamically political nation. Now, but when you now consider why the likes of Ronaldo, Henderson, Neymar have made this, among others, have made this move, it shows that there is a shift from the tradition Saudi Arabia has been acclimatized to, and what exactly the kind of future they want to create. Saudi Arabia, yes, has always been a destination market, but mostly for people of the Islamic faith. But now they realize that they need to open up more broadly to a wide range of people beyond just Islamic affiliations. And that in itself shows that, look, the Saudis are saying that they want to be major players on the global stage. They always have, but mostly from a regional point of view. But now they want to make that move, that jump from just being regional players to global players. And sports, like I mentioned earlier, is soft power and can easily be adopted and applied in making that shift. We see a situation, because this is stemming from, like I mentioned earlier as well, it's not coincidental. It stems from the Saudi 2030 strategy that they developed, that they put together, where they want to assume that global status by 2030. This is the global status or global standing they want to have among the Committee of Nations. So sports as soft power is led by all means the easiest and the most attractive and appealing means they can achieve this. It's not just sports in focus, but sports is the start point. Yeah. Now they're saying they want to diversify their economy, and every dime within the oil money that they actually have, they're channeling it into these other areas of their economy, and sports is a major beneficiary of this largesse.
So I'm sure it is definitely good for football, but of course, some weeks ago, I heard that they are trying to vie for a position to play qualifiers for the UEFA Champions League. Now, should they get a chance to feature in Europe's top football tournaments, talking about the UEFA Champions League or even the Europa League and the Conference League?
No, it is. There's the feasibility of this happening, but the possibility not in the immediate. Because right now, I can tell you for a fact that there are sections within Europe and even in the Americas that are not entirely pleased with the way Saudi is splashing this money, attracting their star players, attracting their star celebrities, to their countries to serve as ambassadors. Now we've seen just recent, the relationship that was between the PGA and Live Golf. However, money is really at play, given the merger and acquisition, because it's really more an acquisition than just a merger. But we see that relationship, which has actually taken a shift from that animosity to a more friendly posture. So it's not impossible, so to speak, to consider that we might see leagues or clubs, participating in the bigger leagues or assets. But how and when that will happen, it can't be seen in the immediate. There will have to be a lot of buy-in from what we consider as being the leading or major players to accept and agree that Saudi really deserves to have a seat at the table.
All right, now let's bring it down to Africa. What do you think we can do? The likes of the PSL in South Africa, there's also the Nigeria Professional Football League, and a lot of leagues in Africa. What can be done to even get to a point to attract one top player in the world?
So the truth is, the model we see adopted by Saudi is going to be a lot different from the model that can be applied or adopted in Africa. Truth be told, Africa right now doesn't have that kind of money to splash on attracting star players. Now, yes, except the likes of Egypt, South Africa, like you mentioned, who may have that posture. But there still is a great deal of work that we need to do. We need to be deliberate about the fact that, look, this is the end goal that we want to achieve, because that's actually what Saudi Arabia, that's even what the MLS and even China, Chinese Super League, even though given its recent history, that's the attempt. There's an end goal. So what's the end goal for Africa? And it's not just the league; it's a national commitment. That this is the end goal that we've set in focus, and this is how we want to go about it. And we want to adopt or use sports as the linkage, to attract and appeal to perhaps not just not necessarily football or sports personalities, but perhaps it could be entertainment or other forms of entertainment. We have the likes of Burna Boy, we have the likes of Wizkid. We saw what happened during the last weekend or into the week with Ashake at O2 Arena. Now, these are soft power effects that we can capture into a national commitment towards achieving an end goal. So it has to be, broadly speaking, a national commitment. Then there has to be an end goal in sight that we want to achieve to adopt soft power in this regard.
All right, we hope that someday, sometime soon, Africa will get to that point of attracting Udoka.
Oh, believe me, there's some discussions going on. There are some steps actually being taken. Specifically speaking, in Nigeria, we see that with the approval of the National Sports Industry Policy, by the Federal Executive Council last year in November, and if you consider that document and the plans, provisions in that document, it says a lot about the shifts that Nigeria is taking, from recreational. Let me also just note here that sports in Nigeria is no longer considered recreational. The federal government, reclassifies sports as a business sector of the economy. And an outcome of that, a key outcome of that, was the National Sports Industry Policy approved in November last year. So when you consider the provisions in that document, you can see that Nigeria is in steps to making a big leap from where we were, from taking sports from the base to becoming a key player in Africa and indeed across the world as well. So Nigeria is in step towards in that direction.
All right, I will look forward to more developments in sports in Nigeria and Africa and then beyond. Thank you very much, Telema Davis, for joining us today to talk about this.